What's a cuckold? Am I a chump? For some background, I have been a cuckoldess for a long time and have been in a very happy cuckold relationship with my husband for almost a decade. I write about what I've learned and how I see things. The opinions I share should not be taken as rules for anyone else. We can all do us however we want, and no one will judge us. The word cuckold comes from the cuckoo, which is a bird that lays its eggs in the nests of other birds, forcing the other bird to raise its eggs. In today's poisonous political language, the word is also used to insult a weak or beta male. I don't agree with any of that. Let's just start with the real definition. Cuck is short for cuckold, which Merriam-Webster says means a man whose wife has sex with someone else. What that definition doesn't say, though, is that it's basically one-sided consensual non-monogamy. Most people learn about cuckoldry from porn. There is a whole subgenre in which a man watches while his wife is with another man, or multiple men. The problem with the public learning everything from porn is that it doesn't show a real cuck relationship. Instead, it only shows the salacious sexual parts. So much more goes into it. There is no one way for a couple to live or dream like a cuck. In most cases, the woman has sexual relationships with people other than her husband, and her husband knows about it, agrees to it, and usually even encourages it. That whole idea goes against what most religious people believe and expect. I'm not surprised that more people are interested in this kind of relationship while a lot of people are leaving organized religion, at least in America. Couples today are changing what it means to be in a good relationship. So, for our purposes here, cuckoldry is not the same as adultery. So, why does cuckoldry get used as a slur so often? In the past, people who didn't know or understand the dynamics of a cuck couple gave them a bad name. When a person who says they only want one partner cheats, it usually causes pain and suffering. Some people are quick to say that cuck couples are bad or less than because of this. That is not true at all, but it may be why other groups of people don't get what's so appealing about the cuck relationship. The word cuck is also used as a slur against rivals in today's world. This is most common in political circles where people don't like each other. This kind of slander has no place in the lives of millions of people who are living their lives the right way. Even though the word is often used as an insult, especially by right-wing memes, that doesn't make it bad. Think about how and why this started being used as an insult. The idea that a wife who has sex with someone else is bad, even if she does it on purpose, is based on old ideas about gender and how relationships work. The fact that these old ideas are part of what attracts people to kinks shows how complicated they can be. In an interview with CNN, clinical psychologists David Ley, PhD, and Justin Lee Miller, PhD, and sex advice columnist Dan Savage talked about the surprising results of a national survey they did. Ley Miller interviewed thousands of Americans for his book, Tell Me What You Want: The Science of Sexual Desire and How It Can Help You Have Better Sex. He found that 58% of men and about a third of women had fantasies about cuckolding. To be clear, this means they imagine their partner having sex with someone else, either while they watch or while they are doing something else. A subreddit on Reddit called Cuckolds and Hot Wives has 817,000 members. This is a term for women who sleep with other men at the request of their main partner. Even though there aren't any hard numbers, I think it's safe to say that most people are interested in this strange dynamic, and that interest is growing all the time. Am I an idiot? I can't tell you for sure, but if the thought of your partner with someone else makes you feel very excited, you may be. One very important thing I've noticed over time is that, after knowing dozens of cuckold couples personally, I started to notice something very important. My cuck husband and the other cucks we know are all very smart, accomplished, successful, intense, and in charge of their business and personal lives. When it comes to their woman, they want to put all that weight aside and let her run their personal and sexual lives. I have come to the following conclusion: the reason so many smart, successful men end up in the cuckold lane is that they are smart and have grown up. They are high-functioning men who need more mental and emotional stimulation. The cuckold dynamic gives cucks this kind of stimulation and their women this kind of freedom that they can't get enough of. I think I've figured out that cuck couples want to connect and play power games, while stag/vixen couples want to try new things and have different sexual experiences. So, the cuck dynamic is much more complicated and varied, which makes it harder to put into a single category. Is a hot wife the same as a cuckoldress? I wouldn't want to leave out the fact that there are no set rules for how to do any of this, and that these differences are just opinions, but they are held by a lot of people who live this way of life. People often mix up these two words. There are clear differences between them, and here are some of the most important ones to know. Also, in both cases, the husband knows and agrees to his wife having other men as lovers. I try to stay away from these labels and just say that we are in a one-sided, mutually non-monogamous relationship. You may identify any way you want. Stag/vixen dynamic is more of a team effort between husband and wife. In cuck couples, on the other hand, the wife is usually in charge. The stag is proud that other men find his wife attractive, but she always goes home with hubs. Usually, erotic humiliation is not a part of it. Most of the time, a wife doesn't have a party by herself. The most common label for swinger wives. Many people who call themselves stag or vixen don't play with power or try to be in charge. Swingers and hot wife/stag couples are usually more interested in sexual expression than in power play. Another difference is that swinger couples don't usually want long-term relationships. Many of them have rules about how often they can see each other. The cuckolds. It's all about power in the cuck dynamic. A mutual exchange of power in which bulls usually have the upper hand, sometimes over both the husband and wife and sometimes just the husband. May humiliate cuck erotically, cuck locked in a cage, possibly made to look like a woman, dominated by bull and/or cuckoldress. Often, a cuckoldress has complete control over who, when, where, and how. Cuckoldress may leave on her own with bull or go away for a weekend or a vacation. Most of the time, a cuckold dynamic is seen as a power exchange where relationships and connections are important. The main difference between stag/vixen and other couples is that cuckoldry is more of a power play with stag/vixen than it is a sexual act with most other couples. Many cuckold couples, including us, want and look for serious, long-term relationships with their lovers. We want those connections and layers. Cuckolding is a box in which a lot of interesting things can happen: comparison, which is the act of taking pleasure in your partner's pleasure and growth. Jealousy, which isn't always a bad thing, fulfilling a fantasy, playing for power, and so on. The bottom line is that cuck males are not weak, stupid, or anything else that should be looked down upon. Cuckold males are just a higher life form, in my opinion. Lifestyle cucks with a lot of life experience are self-aware, confident, sexual, kind, and highly evolved men whose wives look up to them. We love them for the loving freedom and support they give us, as well as the profound closeness we've built and enjoy because of the way our relationship works. How do you make sense of this way of life? What about it makes it satisfying for you?